Welcome back to my channel if you've clicked on this video again, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Before we get into it, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, because honestly you guys are just incredible, and it's midway through 2025. Like, are we okay? Are we okay? But without further ado, let's get into the mid-year tag. I found these questions on Pinterest, so I'm gonna answer them for you. Let's go. Okay, I'm hoping that camera angle's slightly better because you were so high up and it was crazy. But we are gonna get into the questions. So I think this is gonna be a short, snappy video. Let's get through with it. I would hold you up the books, but in all honesty, the way I store my books at the moment is on a nice stack over there, and a lot of these books are down the bottom and I don't want to get them out, so I'm very sorry. I hope you guys can forgive me. Okay, so first question is a new release I haven't read yet but want to. Now, there's lots of new releases coming up that I want to read. I know Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid is a very anticipated read for me right now, but it's not out yet. So I thought, what book do I want to get to that's already out this year that I've not read yet? And it's a love story by Annabelle Monaghan. I just want to read one of her books, and I'd be lying if I said this wasn't for a bookmark on Kindle. No, on Goodreads. It is, but I feel like it's also an excuse to read one of her books. So I'm very excited, but I do need to read it. I need to get to it soon. So I'm hoping that I can get the audiobook soon on Libby. But that is a book that I need to get to by the end of this month, and it's a new release, and I'm so excited because I want to get into her books because I've heard so many good things. Apparently they're short, quick, cozy romances, and that is perfect. Question number 2 was a book I would reread. Now, I can't remember, I'm pretty sure I said it after I finished reading the book, but I want to reread this book because, I'm going to tell you the reason first and then tell you the book. I don't know if that's mean or not, but I want to reread this book because at the time I didn't fully appreciate it. I did give it 5 stars, so it is a 5-star read for me, but I feel like at the time I didn't fully appreciate it, and I wasn't fully appreciating the writer's writing style and the way that it was written. I also feel like it's just such a staple book for so many people that I feel like I need to reread it again to understand it that little bit more. And that is kind of the premise of why I would like to reread it. And I mean, put in the comments down below, what book do you think I'm thinking about? Because from that description, I would say it's between 2 books. Obviously one of them I picked, and the other one is a man called Ove. The one that I picked was Happy Place by Emily Henry. I did enjoy the book, and that's why I gave it 5 stars, but I feel like at the time, it just wasn't necessarily a book that I was absolutely enthralled with. So I want to reread it, and I want to see how my opinion changes, stays the same, if I think anything different, if I think anything like the same, if I pick up on different things. So that is the book that I would like to reread. Book number 3 is a book with the most unique concept. Now, for me, that's really hard because I feel like a lot of the time I read romances, I read thrillers. I've got a TBR which is filled with like backlist books as such. I've got a few books on there that are popular and have been popular within a few years. So things like Not in Love, Love Theoretically, Love on the Brain, Eleanor Oliphant, I've seen going around, Lessons in Chemistry. They're all books, and like The Paradise Problem and stuff, they're all books that are popular now, but I've also got a lot of books that I've had on there for quite a while that I don't see anyone talk about that I need to get them off my TBR. So things like Olive, Room, The Girl Before, also like the I Heart series, Me Before You series. Not many people talk about them. They were popular, they had their time, but I just need to get to them. So I feel like I don't read a lot of books with a unique concept. I don't read a lot of books that are new, upcoming, that have got a different theme to them, and so I found this one difficult to answer. But I did find the most unique theme that I feel like I've read this year is The Midnight Library, which obviously the unique thing about it is the woman is feeling so sad that she tries to unalive herself, and before she can go to the afterlife, she gets put in this library with a librarian that she knew when she was younger, and she gets to relive some of the infinite possibilities of life within the parallel universe. So every decision we've ever made in life, there's a parallel universe where you made the opposite decision. So if I decide to have a drink in a second, in a parallel universe there'd be somewhere where I didn't have that drink. If I decide to, for me right now, it's if I decide to drive home right today, there's a parallel universe where I drive home tomorrow. If I decide to drive home tomorrow, which is what I'm likely going to do, there's a parallel universe where I've driven home today. There's a parallel universe I didn't come to Liverpool. And so in this book, she can explore, because she's so depressed and sad, she can explore some of the differing possibilities in life and find out what would make her happy, and what she basically gets to try all these lives to get a second chance at life. And so it's really, really interesting. It's interesting to kind of see see how narratives play out, and it also gives you a different perspective on life. And it made me just kind of very grateful for like the fact that all the decisions that I've made have led me to here, and here is where I'm meant to be right now. And I fully, wholeheartedly believe that. I believe in the powers of the world have made me get to this point where I am now for a reason. I'm doing my masters for a reason. It's helped me realize things, and it's like my next step in life is so unknown at the moment, but it's exciting because I could be anywhere. This time in like a few months time, this time next year, I could be anywhere. I could be doing anything. Well, this time in a year's time, I will probably still be very, very sad because my best friend gets married in just under a year, and we're so excited. But I could be anywhere. That's kind of the thought process behind it. So I did really enjoy that concept, and it really made me reflect on my own life, and just I've been in a bit of a funky mental health state at the moment, and I feel like that kind of helped and hindered it. I feel like it helped because it made me so grateful about life, but it hindered it because it also made me realise like there's so much that I take for granted and put me in a bit of a spiral. But we're coming out of this spiral now. We're coming out of it. Then the next question is a book I thought I would love but didn't. Please tell me why authors feel the need to add an extra book onto a series that they don't need to add on. Again, 2 books for this, and I've only written down one, but I'm going to tell you both because, to be honest, the first one that I think of when I say that is Before by Anna Todd. Now, there were elements of that book that I did really enjoy. There are elements of that book where you got to see some of the girls from Harden's past, and you get to see some of the futures of some of the characters, and I did enjoy those elements. I did enjoy that side of it. I did think that was worthwhile my reading. Reading the whole section, mid-section again from Harden's point of view when we've already had that, now it's not for me. Fuming. But the worst one, the one that I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to get a bit backstory, or we're going to get the next section, we're going to get the next Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. Please tell me why it's just Edward again. I don't want to know. Like, I like the original Quartet, is it? Yeah, Quartet. We didn't need Midnight Sun, and I do not recommend it to anyone to read because it's so stupidly long for absolutely no reason, and it was a waste of my time. Really was a waste of my time. That book angers me. Okay, the next book is a book that I haven't stopped thinking about. I find it hard because I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly moving on to the next thing, but there's been a book that I keep thinking about because it shook me, it surprised me so much, and I need to get to the sequel, so one of the books on here, obviously, and that's The Love Detective, obviously. So The Love from Paris is book number 2, and every time I look at my TBR card, I want to pick that one. I want to get to it because I loved book 1 so much, yet every time I do my TBR videos, I forget that I want to get to that book, and I pick other books. So I feel like for my July TBR, that one might be a priority, unless obviously I get it in the spinner wheel, but I need to get to it. The Love Detective was I didn't know what to expect, and I picked it up on a whim, and I loved it, and it was such a cute romance, and we could see India, and it was just such a really nice time, and like I said, I didn't know what to expect. So a lot of the time when you don't know what to expect, it's so hard to have expectations, and that was amazing for that book, and so I'm very excited to get to the sequel, and I do keep thinking about it a lot. The next book is a book with mixed reviews that I absolutely loved. Daydream by Hannah Grace. I feel like I see so many mixed things. I feel like a lot of people who read Icebreaker and loved Icebreaker didn't like Daydream, and I feel like that's very valid. I feel like they feel very different. Icebreaker, I feel like, was very lusty, lovey. You're in it for the spice, you're in it for the angst, you're in it for the kind of not enemies to lovers, but like angst basically. And Daydream was very cute, cozy, very sweet, very innocent, and I saw a lot of myself in the female main character from Daydream, and I just felt it was an incredible read. I really enjoyed listening to that audiobook. That was a really enjoyable drive home, and yeah, it was a 5-star from me. But I know a lot of people like hated it or didn't really like it, but liked the other books in the series, or they felt that one would let them down. So yeah, that was one. Then the next question was a book I want to finish before the end of the year. So I am not very good at being in the middle of books. I like to read a book and finish it. I don't like being in the middle of too many books. I've had a few like slumpy moments recently where I've been starting a few different books, and then I'm on Goodreads and there's like 4 or 5 books at the top that I'm in the middle of. Stresses me out, okay? I'm like a 1, maybe 2 book person, maybe 3 depending on if I've got for videos and stuff like that. But I have recently bought a book, which you would have seen in my spinner wheel video, which I think is already out before this one goes out, and I'm just so excited. Like, I need to get to it. And I didn't want to pick any of my 25 and 2025 because I feel like they're already books that I'm like anticipating and need to get to by the end of the year, as well as like all the series books as well. We all know that's a big focus for me, so I just wanted to pick a book that's like a standalone that I just know I need to get to. Hidden Pictures by Jason Recula. Now, like I say, there's lots of books on this TBR card that I really want to get to. Like all the Ali Hazelwood books I really want to get to. I really want to get to The Bodyguard. I want to get to the Christina Lauren book, The Flat Share. There was a few to choose from, but I feel like the Hidden Pictures I bought recently, I've heard so many good things about it, and I'm such a thriller girly, and I feel like I'm in such a thriller mood at the moment that it's kind of like just calling out to me. But for the next few months, we're focusing on series, people. Focusing on series. So that's why I've changed my TBR cart around, because I thought this can be my focus. And as it's at the top, it's the shelf that I look at the most. Sad times. I feel like when September comes, it will still be like a big series drive, because obviously we want to get our series down by the end of the year. But I will trickling in some standalone books again, because they just look sad there, not being touched. Okay, next question is favourite new author. Now, I found this one really hard and I cheated. I'm so sorry, I cheated. But what I will say is I only read one book from this author prior to this year and I didn't love it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. And it would be one that I would want to go back and reread, because I need to see how my views would change now that I have read a lot more of their books and I'm understanding their writing style. I also will preface this by I've only read the one series by them, and I want to go and read some of their other books to see how they fare in terms of writing style and comparisons. And this author, none other than Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read Evelyn Hugo and was like, yeah, it's a good book, but it wasn't anything like special. I wouldn't have written home about it. I didn't think it was amazing. And since then, I've listened to the rest of the books on audio, and I feel like that might be where I went wrong with Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because listening to the other books on audio has just been like incredible. It's been such an experience. And so yeah, Taylor Jenkins Reid is my new favourite author, and I feel like I need to try and get to some of her backlist, because I'm up to date now with this, like the Famous series, so I now need to have a look at some of her romance books as well. But again, we need to get this sorted first. The next question is a book that made me miss a loved one, which I thought was a really sweet question. Now, I took it as a passed away loved one, not just a loved one. I think a lot of people would take it as that way. I know I miss a lot of my loved ones because of being away from home, and there's lots of books where I've been reading where they've got a really great friendship or really good parent and family dynamic that I'm like, oh, I miss my mum, I miss my dad, I miss my friends. But I felt like that's a lot of books you'll read and they've got a great like found family or great friendship or whatever, and it just makes me miss home. Or even sometimes I'm reading books like Fearless made me really miss my best friend, not because of the book but because we've read the other like she read Powerless and Reckless before I read them, and she was like begging me to read them. And so I then picked up Fearless and she wasn't there to talk to about it, and it was really sad. But the book that made me miss a loved one was because this character was just so grumpy, but by the end of the book I had such a soft spot for him, and the book devastated me. I cried so much, and it just made me think about like my life and my granddad, and imagining that kind of roles reversed if he was still with us, what he would be like now, and whether he would be a grumpy old man. And obviously it's a man called Ove. I'm so excited to read more of Frederick Backman's work, because that book, honestly, it was a 2-star majority of the way through, and then by the end of it was a 5-star. Like, I just don't know how that happened. It just like grew on me, and I feel like I need to read more of Frederick Backman's work to appreciate his writing, and then probably go back and read A Man Called Ove and appreciate that a little bit more. But yeah, my granddad's always with me. If you ever see my tattoo on my arm, it's in his handwriting, and so he's someone who I miss dearly, and reading that book and just seeing like the character arc for him was just so sweet. That was my book that made me think of a loved one. The next question is a book I think should be adapted into a movie. Now, again, I've not cheated, I've just picked a series, because I feel like there's lots of books that are being made into movies and being made into series and being picked up, and the rights are picked up, but this is like an older series that it's got the hype now, but it hasn't been like picked up or mentioned, and it's the Natural series. I would love to see that kind of play out and see how that fares. Now, I don't know whether it's going to be similar to One of Us Is Lying. I've got that on my TBR this month, so I can see, but I just love the Naturals. I love the characters. It'd be really interesting to see their dynamics on screen, and the books are just so fun that I think it would be a really really good one to watch as a movie or a TV series and go through with all of the kind of questions and what everyone thinks and stuff like that. So yeah, that's one that I'd like to be adapted into a movie. My penultimate question is a book that makes me think other books are average. So I picked 3 books for this. I picked 2 5-star reads and a 4-star read, but you'll understand why. So my 4-star and my 5-star read was Malibu Rising for the 5-star and Carrie Soto's Back for the 4-star. I feel like these are just such fun books, and I feel like the way that Taylor Jenkins Reid writes it and gets you to immerse in the characters and makes like unlikable characters or characters with trauma or characters with background just so intriguing and interesting, and I really did enjoy those books. And like I feel like a lot of other literary fiction books have got that kind of hype to live up to. And then obviously the other one is Fearless, because that book, I have never binged a book quite like I binged that book. To sit down and read a 600-page book in a day is just unheard of for me. I don't read that much. I very rarely will finish a 300-page book in a day, but that book I sat down and I did not stop until I finished, and it was incredible. So I have no words. Go and watch the vlog if you want to see more about that. And the last question is a book that gave me a new perspective on life, and this book is Shine by Andy Cope. I feel like this is a very boring question to end on, but if you want to have like, if you're stuck or you want a new perspective on life, then I would go into that. I will preface it by saying the humour in there is not for everyone. I've got quite a dry, dark sense of humour, and I feel like that suited me perfectly, but I feel like for some people it might offend them. I have seen some good reviews of that, so maybe have a preview if you want to like get into it. I know a lot of times you could, especially with books that are non-fiction, you can get like little previews and you can see what the writing style is like. I really enjoyed it. It felt a lot more conversational, felt like a really easily digestible non-fiction read. However, I know for some people it just won't be. That was my book that made me change perspective on life. I hope you enjoyed this kind of mid-year tag. If you've got any other questions, leave them down below. I'm always happy. I respond to all comments. I see them all. So thank you so much for anyone that interacts, comments, likes, shares, anything, follows me on Instagram, subscribes. It's honestly incredible. I cannot believe that from October, obviously, to now, I've got over 100 subscribers. Like to me, 100 was like a goal, and now I've got over, and I'm kind of like, oh. Every time I go on, I check my YouTube studio most days, and I'm like, oh, how many am I on today? But yeah, I really enjoy kind of this as like a little side little side like hobby. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know any videos or anything you'd like to see. Also let me know any of the books on the TBR cart that you want me to read. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you guys later. Bye.